Okay, so one of the thing that most people depend upon, it's to some degree or another, is Social Security. Depending upon, you depend upon that for some of your income stream, if you will. Hopefully not. You'll have other backup streams of income, but some people don't. Um, so bearing this in mind, some things to consider. One is when to retire. There are things to consider along with that as well. You can start. I'm not sure how this will play out going forward, but currently the situation is that if you're age 62, you can start collecting benefits. It's going to be reduced until you reach your full retirement age, or FRA, which would be age 67, I believe, at the moment. Um, but you could still continue to work after 67 and not start collecting benefits until age 70. And at that time, by delaying that retirement, by delaying those benefits, you can end up with a significantly higher. I think it's about 8% per year is tacked on the longer that you stay in the workforce. So it can be beneficial to do that. These are decisions that have to be made if you're going to, continue to work or not continue to work. So, for example, if you started collecting your Social Security benefit at age 62 and you decide that it's not enough income, you go back to work, there are limits on the amount of income that you can receive. And again, these things are open for, there could be some tax changes impending, so bear this in mind. You have to kind of think about the whole thing and really kind of plan these things out. And with that in mind, what I really, really recommend is that everybody goes out to ssa.gov and create an account with Social Security, and you'll be able to get some idea what your benefits might be, going forward. But bear in mind that by the year 2033, at this point, it might be sooner, it might be later, Social Security benefits will be reduced by probably anywhere from 25 to 35%. Because of the mismatch in terms of the amount of people that are actually working out there versus the people that are collecting benefits. The beneficiaries are on the rise is the point. So things to keep in mind. So again, as I mentioned before, that we're going to be upside down in terms of Social Security, meaning that again, by 2033, we'll only be funding 77% at that point, a little bit better than I had mentioned before, but who knows how this is going to play out. The point being is that Social Security is funded by the number of people that are actually currently working. So as the number of people continue to collect Social Security rises and people are living longer, then they're collecting Social Security for longer periods of time, and it puts more strain on the system. Bottom line is that the amount, the surplus that had been built up in Social Security is going to go to zero again by the year 2033, and after that, what goes in is all that's available for coming out, if nothing else changes. Okay, so things to kind of keep in mind. There are other public pension plans, including the Veterans Administration and railroad system, and oftentimes city, state, county government workers have set up some sort of pension plans as well. So in the private sector, the defined contribution plans versus defined benefit plan. Defined contribution plan is what you kick in to this into the system into the form of your 401k or 403b or 457 plans, different designations by the IRS. These are tax deferred plans where you're contributing to like to mutual funds and so on and so forth, where you're sheltered from taxes right now, but when you start collecting, when you start to draw out that the proceeds, the interest and the actual principal, you would be paying taxes on that, and that would be normal taxes, if you will. So that's that tax deferred defined contribution plan piece of it. And oftentimes what happens is that the individual employee contributes, and the employer oftentimes has some sort of a matching contribution as well, maybe like 3, 4, 5%, whatever the amount that you're kicking in. Up to that point, they would match. So this is very, very typical. The other is called the defined pension, defined benefit plan, and that is the traditional pension wherein you kick in a certain amount every month, and when you retire, this pension plan pays you a set amount of income a month, kind of going forward, like an annuity is really what we're saying. And there are pluses and minuses to both sides, and there's no certainty that you'll of anything other than when you are contributing into either plan. There's the good possibility that you will be receiving some sort of a cash flow as a result going forward in retirement. That's what they're set up for. So when you change jobs, they're typically, what happens is that you can leave your funds in that 401k, for example, with the private company, or 403b. You can leave your funds with that employer's plan and then just kind of ride things out. Secondly, you can roll those funds over into your new employer's plan. And thirdly, you can roll your funds into an IRA, an individual retirement account. And the last, of course, is you can always cash out and you'll pay taxes and likely penalties associated with that as well, depending upon your age. Excuse me. And so with the traditional IRA, these are tax deferred plans where you would, again, converting your 401k into an IRA where you have control over the direction as to where the investments will be flowing, okay? And bearing in mind that you have to start withdrawing funds by the age of 70 and a half, and I believe that's been moved up to age 72, and that's it's called the I forget the name, but it's an RMD, required minimum I forget the D, what it stands for. In any case, you have to start drawing that down as you are, past that age. The other is, so that's the taxable version, that the tax deferred, you start to pay taxes coming out. The other is a Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is interesting because you're paying with after-tax dollars, and what happens is that after you make your contribution, that's the end of your tax liability. So you're paying with after-tax dollars, but when you start collecting, when you start drawing it down, and the interest that you've accrued, and along with the principal, both are tax-free. So it's really kind of a neat thing, and there's a toss-up as to whether or not you want to do something like that, or when you want to do something along those lines. And there's some kind of neat things that can be considered going forward, but a Roth IRA is a really neat option for you. So there are other IRAs, of course, spousal IRA. If only one person is working, the other person can contribute to their IRA up to a certain point. And there are other things that can be done as well, like rolling over your IRA into like a Roth IRA, where you pay taxes when you do the rollover. So it's treated as normal income, and then, there are time things, typically like a 5-year window, wherein you can't really touch it without having to pay some sort of penalty. But at any rate, there's some kind of neat things. The education IRA, and that would be $2,000 a year to each child. The not deductible accounts grow tax-free and can be invested in any way you so choose. Again, that's the Coverdell Education Savings Account. Annuities would be something where you're doing your own pension plan, meaning that you buy into an annuity, and with the idea that at some point in time you will start drawing down from that annuity, start getting regular payments over a period of time. Again, different types of annuities. The immediate annuities, payments begin right away. Deferred annuities, income payments begin at some future point. Contributions and interest they earn are tax deferred until you start to draw that money out. So again, these are all things that are designed for helping you to contend with taxes. So again, the deferred annuity is putting it off and then paying taxes, again, another tax deferred a vehicle that would be out there for you. So when it comes to annuity incomes, again, those are payments that would be coming out of whatever plan that you're in. Straight life annuity provides more income than any other type, but payments stop when you die. So it's when you cease, they cease. When you're deceased, they cease. Life with period certain options guarantee a specific number of payments. A joint survivor annuity pays until the last survivor you designate dies. So if you pass away, your spouse would continue to receive those annuity payments until they pass away. Do you want a guaranteed fixed return or variable annuity with a minimum guaranteed, and the rest depending on how your investment choices for your annuity are performing? Lots of different options that are out there. And the key takeaway is that there is no certainty with any of these things. There's no promise that they will be, there's nothing set in stone that you will be receiving these, but there's some certainty, or there's some degree of certitude, if you will, that when you do this annuity, it's another plan to kind of set up payments in the manner in which you would like to receive that kind of going forward. So the decision tree, if you will, not decision tree, but your sources of income kind of going forward in retirement. The government source, again, would be Social Security, VA, railroad retirement system, any kind of pensions that you would be receiving from state, county, city governments. And the other side would be the private sources, which would be your employer pension plans or your own personal plans. So the employer pension plans would include the defined contribution part, where you kick in, they kick in, you own it, it's yours. The defined benefit plan is your employer has control over this, and they're the ones that distribute they being the pension plan itself, and at the behest of your employer, distribute monthly payments or however they're designated to do so. Personal plans on your own, those would be IRAs. Different types include traditional IRA, Roth IRA, or just plain savings, after-tax savings, if you will. And also the annuities, where you set up some sort of you buy into something where you have set payments kind of going forward. However, that's set up. So here we are again, dotting I's, crossing T's, and just kind of summarizing what we've talked about before. So living in retirement, make sure you receive all of your retirement income which you're entitled. Find all those sources that are out there and make sure that you have access to this, and think about this in terms of taxes. So whatever's, take advantage of all the tax savings for retirement that you can possibly find. Lots of resources out there. Professionals that could help you toward this end. And again, this is something that you start to do now, or within, we'll just say 5 years of retirement for sure. More likely 10 years going, that you've got a 10-year window, so you can plan for this properly. Make a decision as to whether or not you want to work during retirement. It can be a nice little bonus, right? Depending upon the position that you choose, part-time, ideally, right? Someplace a position that you would like to have. So investing for retirement, there are different types of systems that are set up out there, and always kind of bear in mind that if you're going to depend upon this income, you may want to reconfigure your portfolio so that it's more in tune with that, meaning less fluctuation, right? Moving more from stocks to like a bond portfolio, for example. And always bear in mind inflation is going to be out there, and your nest egg is your backstop, right? So always be cautious about dipping into that. It's not to say that you shouldn't, but you should be wary of that. Be aware of what you're doing, and you don't want to be in a position where you outlive your assets, or ideally you don't want to be.